Welcome back to this discussion on using PostgreSQL and the basics of databases. Okay, so let's turn our attention to joins, simply because joins allows us to get information from the database. So let's say that I am interested in getting a listing or a printout of each symbol. How many shares do I own? What is the price of each share? And then what is the current value of my shares? So if each share is worth $100 and I own 10 shares, then my current value is $1,000. Okay, so since the information we need, we need symbol, num shares, and we need price. Where is that? Here. And we need price from the stocks prices table. So there are two tables where the information that we need, where the data that we need is scattered across. So these two tables. So as you know from SQL, from your database course, when you have data scattered across multiple tables, then you need to perform a join, which allows you to get data from all the tables that are participating in the join. Okay, so usually we perform an inner join. So whenever we say join, we are referring to an inner join. And the way an inner join works, just to remind you, you have the first table, and whatever you're joining on, the DBMS will check the other table and it will try to find similar rows where those two columns match. And once they match, those will be returned in the result. All right. Okay, so let's do our join. So I'll simply do a select. Okay, and if you recall, whenever we do joins, we tend to give the tables that are participating in the join an alias. Okay, usually it's a single letter. Okay, so let's say m dot symbol. Okay, so I want the symbol column from some table named m. Okay, and then I want the num shares column from that same table named m, and from the table named s I want the price. Okay, and then I'm going to say from, and the first table that participates in this join is my stocks, and I'm going to nickname that m. Okay, so that's where the m comes from. All right, so whenever the DBMS sees m, it knows that I am referring to this name. All right, so this is quite useful, especially if your table name is very long. All right, for example, this one here, newly acquired stocks. You don't want to be typing that name out every time, so we just give it an alias. In this case, I'm using m. So m.symbol, m.num shares, and s.price. These m refer to my stocks. So it's my stock.symbol, my stocks.num shares. Okay, so the next table that participates in the join, we're going to say join. Okay, so select these columns from this first table, which you should join with the second table called stock prices as S. And finally, we have to tell the DBMS which column it should use to match. Okay, which column from M and which column from S should be checked. Okay, and so we want it to return to us things where m dot symbol is the same as s dot symbol. All right. So what it will do, it will look at both tables and it will check the first column, which is symbol. And so it will get the first symbol. All right. And then it will say, okay, is this symbol in the other table? And if it is, it will take that row which it found, and then it will choose whatever column we need from that table. Okay, and that's how the DBMS does it. It's basically a big matching. Okay, and all the rows that meet that match are returned to us. All right, so let's save this and let's read this in. Okay. Joins. Okay. Okay. And so notice we get the symbol column, we get the num shares column, and we get the price column. All right. And so remember, these columns came from two different tables. The first two columns came from my stocks, and the third column came from stock prices. However, we have not answered the question. We need to now say what is the current value of each of these rows. So if I own 1,000 shares of Apple, price right now is $20.15. Well, then it means that my Apple shares are worth 1,000 times 20 is $20,150. Okay. So how do I tell the DBMS to multiply these two columns? All right. Well, we'll simply come here. Okay, and then we'll say in parentheses m dot num shares times s dot price. Okay. However, if we leave this like this, okay, let me just save it and let's run it. Okay, we don't get a name for the column. It does give us the right answer, but not a good name. So that's easy to rectify. All we have to do is say as and call this current value. Okay, and then the DBMS will know that that should be the name of that column that it has calculated for us. Okay, so this is sort of a calculated column, a calculated field. So that's the reason why you're always told in when dealing with databases, for example, you don't calculate, you don't store someone's age, right? You don't say, oh, this person is 15. No, you simply store the date of birth, because you can always tell the DBMS to calculate the age for you on the fly. Okay, so we don't store the current value for each stock. All we store is how many shares I own, what's the price, because I can always tell the DBMS to calculate on the fly what is the current value. Okay, and likewise, I wouldn't want to save this, because if the price changes, then I will have to recalculate these. I'll have to change this. So if I store this value and I buy 2,000 shares now, then obviously my answer is wrong. So to avoid that, you always store only the things you need and do the calculation later on. Okay? Alright, so no hard coding in SQL, just like no hard coding in programming. Alright, so to wrap up, we learned about inner joins, or we reviewed inner joins, since this is something you already know how to do. So each column, right, each value is checked to see, is used to check to see if it's found in the other participating table. And if it is, then that row is considered a part of the result set, or a part of the answer that the DBMS will use to ultimately return to us the answer we seek. Okay, that brings us to the end of this. Well, actually, let's try one more thing. Let's say I bought a new stock. Okay, so I want to insert that stock into my stocks. So let's say insert into my stocks symbol num underscore shares and date acquired. Yeah, let me spell it correctly this time. So insert into value, so insert into my stocks in these columns values. Let's say I bought eBay, and then let's say I bought 100 units, and I bought it 2022 dash this month dash yesterday. Okay, so if I say select all from my stocks, all right, I have 6 rows, of course. I have eBay. All right, so let's see what happens if we let's see if we run our joins column, our joins query. Okay, so we don't get eBay in our listing. Okay, and if you think about it, the reason why eBay is not listed is simply because eBay, it's a symbol found in the my stocks table, but the DBMS did not find it in the stock underscore prices table. And because it could not find a matching eBay, then no row was returned. All right, and that's what you have to always be mindful of with an inner join, or simply a join, that they must have matching values in each of the participating tables. Okay, that's an inner join, or a join. All right, in the next video, we're going to see how we can sort of rectify this problem by using an outer join. All right, I'll see you in that video.